Hey everybody, Vaultmeister Joe Travers here, and today we are going to be talking about and unboxing the new Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention release, Cheaper Than Cheep. Some of you might be asking, what is Cheaper Than Cheep? Well, in order for me to answer that, I have to give you a little bit of history. You see, Frank wanted to do his own television special back in the early 70s. Music-oriented programming was getting very popular then, with shows like The Midnight Special, ABC's In Concert, Don Kirshner's Rock Concert, or maybe even just an hour-long special devoted to a specific artist. Well, Frank wanted to do it his way, and the plan was to put one together and then shop it to the networks. The seeds were planted back in December '73 when he shot on film the performances at the Roxy Theater in Hollywood. So unfortunately, the Roxy film ended up not being something that Frank could use. So about 6 months later, in June, Frank organized yet another shoot. He took his tour gear and his tour equipment and his crew, set it all up inside of his rehearsal hall, and decided to do, with minimal rehearsal, a shoot with the purposes of a possible television show. Well, unfortunately, that shoot was also tainted. The video truck and the audio truck did not have sync in between the two, thus rendering it almost completely impossible for Frank to be able to marry mixed audio to the final product. So sadly, the footage ended up just becoming shelved and sat in the vault for about 50 years. The good news is that Frank finally did get a successful video shoot in August at KCET TV studios in Los Angeles. And this is the footage that you've seen in various projects that he had done over the years, such as the Dubroom Special or A Token of His Extreme. Nowadays, with the advent of digital technology, it's been a much easier task to be able to try to get the audio and the video for this particular project to talk to each other. And thus, after 50 years of sitting in the vault, we now have Frank Zappa's Cheaper Than Cheep. You know what's really special about this? It was the classic six-piece, which consisted of basically Ruth Underwood, Napoleon Murphy Brock, George Duke, Tom Fowler, and Chester Thompson, accented at this point with Jeff Simmons in the group. So this footage is an unbelievable snapshot in time of a band that has gone on to become pretty much the quintessential lineup or a massive fan favorite. Earlier I talked about the Roxy performances, and in 2015 we finally had the opportunity to marry the film with the audio for the first time. The person responsible for making that happen was an editor named John Albarian. Well, John was called to come back and do basically the same process for Cheaper Than Cheep. We had to digitally go in and make sure that we could line it all up. It's crazy to be able to think that this stuff sat for 50 years unseen. But now, for the first time, we get a chance to see a pretty amazing performance from a pretty amazing band.